Okay, this question most likely going to be in the next exam. Also, it's going to be in the final exam. If you go back and take a look at the sample final, you find at least one question related to this problem. So let's take a look at it. A line contains the following points. You have 2 points. We want to calculate the slope. In order to calculate the slope, we need to know the formula. Okay? Can you put a check mark next to your name if you know the formula for the slope? If you don't know the formula for the slope, put the X next to your name. Okay, so I'm going to write it down here, slope. If you know the equation for the slope, put a check mark next to your name. And the slope is corresponding to M. Okay, if you don't know it, that's okay for now. We're going to write it down, but make sure you remember this. You have to memorize this. Okay, that is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, can I see a check mark next to everyone's name? If you can follow, if you can remember this for the test. Okay, good. So that's what you have to remember. Write it down somewhere. All right. Now, as you see, we need to know what x1, y1, y2, y1 are here. And for that, we already know 2 points. So we need to know 2 points. You need to know what P1 is, and we know what P2 is. So now it's up to you which one of these given points you want to assign to be point 1. So I'm going to assign the first one to be point 1. If I do that, then this minus 1 corresponds to x1, 3 would correspond to y1, and then the second point then would be point 2. Then I can say 2 would be x2, and 5 would be y2. So you have to label your points first, so you can substitute that into that equation. If you can follow up to this point, can you put a check mark next to your name, please? And then I want you to go ahead and substitute and tell me what do you get for the slope, everyone, please. Okay, what do you get for the slope? y2 is 5. Minus y1 is 3, x2 is 2, minus x1 is minus 1. Okay, I got some answer already. Some answers are different. Okay, at the top of the fraction, I have 5 minus 3, that would be 2. Now this is like I have 2 plus 2, right? That turns to plus. Plus 2 plus 1 would be 3. Okay, I get mostly 2/3 for the answer. So the first thing is to label the points, given points, substitute in that formula, you're done. Can I see a check box next to your name if you can find the slope then? Slope is equal to 2/3. Good. Okay, now, next question is find the equation of this line. Now, to find the equation of the line, you can start with the general equation of the line, which is y is equal to mx plus b. You can use this. Y is equal to mx plus b. Y is equal to mx plus b. Can I put a check mark next to your name, everyone, where you can remember this for the next test and final exam? You should memorize this. Y is equal to mx plus, where m is the slope and b is y-intercept. Okay, I need a check mark if you can remember this formula for the next exam. That's the slope, and this is your y-intercept. intercept. This is where your graph going to intercept y-axis. Okay, this is called general equation of the straight line in slope-intercept form. That's all it is. Y is equal to mx plus b. Okay, Heidi? All right. So, for this, I know the slope already. I find the slope from previous one, which is 2/3. So I know m is 2/3. But do I know the y-intercept? Do I know b? No, I don't know b. How do I solve for b? In order to solve for b, I have to use one of these given points. I can pick either of them. Let's pick the first point, -1 and 3. -1 and 3. Remember we labeled this point as point 1 last time to find the slope, but this time I'm going to label it as point P. If I call it point P, this would be X, this would be Y. So I can label my points whatever I want. If I call it point P, the first one corresponds to the X, the second one corresponds to Y. If I call it P1, the first number in the parentheses corresponds to X1, the second number corresponds to Y1, and so forth. So in this case, if I use this information, I can solve for B. Very simple. Y is equal to mx plus b, because I know what y is. Y is 3. I know what slope is, 2/3. I know what x is, -1 or -1/1 plus b. Then I can solve for b. Okay, can I see a check mark next to everyone's name if you can follow up to this point? Because the rest is pretty simple. Just calculate. So if you say write the equation of the line, the quickest way would be to write y is equal to mx plus b. If you know the slope and one point, you can solve for b. Simple as that. Okay, can somebody tell me what b is equal to? Here I have 3/1 is equal to -2/3 plus b. How do you solve for b? You have to add 2/3, right, to both sides of the equation. If I add 2/3 to both sides of the equation, what do I get? I get on the left-hand side, I get 3/1 plus 2/3 is equal to b. Okay, once again, can I see a check mark next to everyone's name if you follow up to this point? So 3/1 is equal to -2/3 is equal to b. To solve for b, we have to add 2/3 to both sides of the equation. And then on the left-hand side, I get 3/1 plus 2/3 is equal to b. Okay? I don't see check mark in front of everyone's name yet. So Shane, do you follow up to this? I know you gave me an answer, but we'll look at your answer in a moment. But do you follow up to this point? That's all I want to know. I want to make sure everybody can follow up to this point. If you do, put a check mark next to your name. Okay. Well, I don't want anybody to be confused as we go on. So let's go back. I'm going to put the star next to here. Sashin, do you follow up to this point here? Put yes or no. Well, you're giving me the final answer, 11/3. Okay, well, let's finish this if your answer is correct. Now, to add 3 over 1 plus 2 over 3rd, we need the LCD to be 3, right? LCD is 3, so I need to multiply the first fraction with 3 over 3, right? Multiply this by 3 over 3. So it would be 9 over 3 plus 2 over 3, which you're absolutely right, it would be 11 over 3. So you have 9 over 3 plus 2 over 3, which is equal to 11 over 3. If everybody agree B is 11 over 3, put the check mark next to your name then, please. Define B. Define B is equal to 11 over 3. Everybody follow that? Okay. Shannon, are you okay so far? Daisy? Okay, good. So we have all the information we need to write the equation of the line. Okay, what's the equation like? We know that we go back and write down the general equation. Y is equal to mx plus b. So the equation will be y is equal to, we find the slope to be 2/3 x, plus now we know the y-intercept is 11 over 3. That's the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. Can I see a check mark next to your name, if you can follow that? Okay, if somebody asks you to write the equation of the line in a standard or general form, can somebody tell me what the standard form or general form would look like? Erica, are you okay with this so far? I don't see a check mark next to your name. Erica? Okay, the question now is, what's the standard form? Anybody can tell me what the standard form would be? Because on the test, on the final exam, they might ask you, write the final answer in a standard form. And Renee is filling up that for us. You're very close, except you have one extra x there at the end. The standard for general form would be ax plus by is equal to just c, not cx. Okay. So if somebody asks you to write the final answer in the standard form, they mean just make sure all the x and y in one side of the equation and the number in the other side of the equation. And we can easily do that with this, right? If I just subtract 2/3 from both sides of the equation, I would get minus 2/3 x plus y is equal to 11 over 3. Now, this is not quite standard form because a, b, and c has to be integers. It cannot be a fraction like we have here. So in order to do that, I can multiply each term by 3. Then I get it to that form. If I multiply each term by 3 over 1, then I can get into the standard form. Minus 2/3 x plus y 11/3. Let's do these two. So here we get minus 2x plus 3y is equal to 11. That's the standard form. It's the same equation in that form. Just make a note of that, please. So for this example that we were working on, there, we calculate the slope. We write the we wrote the equation of the line in slope-intercept form, and find the x and y-intercept. Well, now I have the equation. I can find the x and y-intercept, right? To find the x and y-intercept, you need to let x equal to 0, solve for y, y is equal to 0, solve for x, and we're done. So in this case, if x is equal to 0, what is y? Anybody? If x is equal to 0 in this equation, okay, when x is 3, but not quite. If x is equal to 0, y-intercept is we already established by looking at this, because y-intercept is b, right? So it cannot be 3, right? So what is the y-intercept? To find the y-intercept, you have to let x equal to 0 and solve for y. Okay, I didn't get the correct answer from anyone yet. Okay, remember, we have y is equal to 2/3 x plus 11 over 3. What is the y-intercept? That's right in front of us. That's why we wrote it in this form, so you can find the y-intercept quickly. Because that's the slope, right? This is the slope. And what's the y-intercept? Anybody? 11? No. Why 3 over 11? It's right in front of us. This is y-intercept. Y is equal to mx plus b. Yeah, 11 over 3 is your y-intercept. 11 over 3 is your y-intercept. Okay, look. 2/3 x plus 11 over 3. 2/3 x plus 11 over 3. That's the equation. Now, when you write in this, the reason we write it in this form is so you can just look at this and say what's y-intercept is. But to find the y-intercept of any graph, you have to let x equal to 0 and solve for y. Okay, let's do that. Y is equal to 2/3 x plus 11 over 3. If I let x equal to 0, then 2/3 times 0 would be 0, right? So we left up with y is equal to 0 plus 11 over 3. So y must be equal to 11 over 3, right? Can I see a check mark next to your name, everyone? If you can follow this. So y is equal to 11 over 3. And that's your y-intercept. Y-intercept should be written in the pair like this. X equal to 0, y is equal to 11 over 3. That's where your line is going to intercept the y-axis. Can I see a check mark next to everyone's name? If you don't follow it for the x, so we can talk about this more. All right, now to find the x-intercept, we do very similar steps. Y is equal to 2/3 x plus 11 over 3. Okay, so to find x-intercept, you have to let y be equal to 0 and solve for x. Right? Let's do that. If anybody knows the x-intercept, you can put your answer down. I'm gonna go through the steps. Okay, here we're saying we're gonna let y be equal to 0. So in this equation, we're gonna let y equal to 0. So y is equal to 2/3 x plus 11 over 3. In this case, we say y0 equal to 2/3 x plus 11 over 3. To solve for x, I have to subtract 11 over 3 from both sides of the equation. Okay. So you have minus 11 over 3 is equal to 2/3 x. If you can follow up to this point, can you put a check mark next to your name so far? Your calculation. Okay, to solve for x, what do we have to do now? I have to multiply both sides by reciprocal of 2/3, which is 3/2. If I multiply both sides of the equation by 3/2, then I would find to the left hand side, I would get, I can reduce this to minus 11 over, do I get the right correct answer from anyone yet? Okay, don't multiply them because you can reduce them before you multiply. Minus 11 over 2. Good. There it is. That is your X-intercept. So you can show the X-intercept also as a point. This is where your graph, when it passes your x-axis, minus 11 over 2 and 0. Very good. Okay, so that's how you calculate x and y intercept. If you can follow the calculation for finding x and y intercept, can I see a check mark next to your name, everyone, please? And the last step is to graph them. So we have all the information we need to graph this. We can actually use the calculation for x and y intercept to graph these, or you can pick any other points you like. Remember, this is also the same equation. It's the same. You can actually use this equation here to graph, which would be the same. I don't see a check mark next to everyone's name. Are we having a problem with this so far? Daisy, are you okay? Okay. All right. So if I use the x and y intercept information, I can simply graph this too. Okay. So let's do that. You definitely can go back and review all these sessions. I'm going to post this by tomorrow, and also like I said, under those workshops you would see more workshops about graphing that would also help you if you go through that. And also you have your lecture notes. When you're preparing your lecture notes, also you can, if you take a good notes, go over all these. So the couple of points that we find here, if x is equal to minus 11 over 2. Okay, I'm going to show that, Renee, in a moment, where those lecture notes or those other workshops are. But let's finish this one. What is 11 over 2 approximately? And if what's half of 11? Anyone? Okay, about 5.5. So if I move about 5.5 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if I say this is 6, okay, so somewhere around here, minus 11 over 2, and we have another 0.0, and what's 11 over 3 is equal to approximately? Anyone? 3, like between 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, somewhere around here. 11 over 3, and we just connect these 2 points together. There we have it. That's a rough graph of the line. And we're done with this.